As always, thank you all for joining and listening and being a part of the Too Much community. The workbook, the Too Much Workbook, Tools to Build a Life That You Love, is live. You can purchase at deniselovehewitt.com. You can get it at any of the links in my bio. This has been a labor of love built out of my journey of redesigning my life. So I created this 40-page workbook to help you figure out what your blueprint is for your life, not what society tells you to be, not what you thought you should be, really what your soul is here to do, and to figure out how to design a life that's going to bring you a lot of meaning in a really challenging professional landscape. So please check it out. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in, being a part of this journey, and I hope it brings you an immense amount of value.
Is there such a thing as too much luck? Is there such a thing as too much fun? Messing around, wondering how it's taken so long. I'm really so strong. It's not too much at all.
Happy Monday, my friends. This week, we are digging into a different pathway for new blueprints for the new world. I'm here with the founders of Sistine Spritz, Kate McClamb and Lauren Alexander. Welcome.
Hi.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about what they're building and why. The story of Sistine didn't begin once upon a time, but once upon a veritable obsession. Since legal drinking age, Sistine founders Lauren and Kate favored the Italian wine-based cocktail above all others. And as any fellow devotees of the Church of Spritz will tell you, not all bubbles are created equal. Questionable ingredients and imbalanced proportions can quickly turn a highly anticipated sip into something subpar. So the duo decided to do better by their beloved cocktail by reinventing it with cleaner ingredients, a more thoughtful approach to how people drink today, and a California point of view. Lauren has spent the last 2 decades building an apparel line, L&A, and launched the Wine Society, a dinner series rooted in natural wine and community. Kate comes from the worlds of entertainment, hospitality, and private investment with a talent for bringing grand ideas to life. Together, they create a Sistine, a cleaner spritz made for modern day drinking. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us. This is so fun.
That was really
Okay, well, Kate and I met, and instantly I wanted to be her friend, but it took a few months, and I finally invited her to one of my wine societies. And I think, Kate, the first one you came to was out in the desert in
Yes.
Palm
Yeah.
Springs. It was a party I was throwing in Palm Springs at this insane house. And so I invited Kate to come, bring some friends to come to her first wine society. And that party was wild. I think I ended up in the pool with a bottle of champagne at one point with my
Everyone did. Yeah.
So Kate got introduced to the Wine Society that way, and Kate showed up wearing the outfit. Like, I always tell people to come to Wine Society dressed up, like, don't wear jeans. And Kate, I remember, was wearing platform shoes, sparkly, like, hot shorts. She really brought it, and she was always the first one on the dance floor, which I had heard about, and she in fact was. And it was such a fun night, and Kate and I really connected, and she got to be a part of this world that I had been working on. And I think that was the first time that Kate got to experience my love of hosting and throwing parties and being with friends that was sort of centered around the Wine Society, which in the beginning was super educational. Like, I would hand you a pamphlet when you sat down, and then it turned into more of just a social gathering around like cool bottles of wine and lists that I was curating. But that was our entry point into Sistine.
And so once you decided that you had this shared love, you wanted to readdress what was happening in the market, because a lot of, just for people that are less familiar with startup language and startup world, is that when you build something, you want it to be solving a problem or creating something that doesn't exist. And so can you tell us about your approach to building something in a saturated market and saying, this is how we're differentiating and this is how we're doing it better for the public of 2025, 2026?
Yeah. So I'll say one thing because we've always called Lauren the Spritz Queen. She makes an incredible spritz. Even if it was just hosting like a few people at the house, she always made a spritz that you couldn't really order at a restaurant, right? She would have different aperitifs that like no one had heard of. She would be adding bitters, different citrus than you were used to. And the biggest issue we saw was she had to take so much stuff if she was ever going to somebody else's house to make the spritz. So
It
that
was
was one
insane.
part of the market. We wanted something that was just of ease for people, right? Like you take a bottle or a can and it's fully mixed, ready to go. And the other big part was we wanted a cleaner option. You know, a lot of aperitifs have a ton of sugar, they have some coloring that we're not really into. Red dyed 40 and all of that kind of stuff. So we really wanted to take our California approach to this Italian drink and make it healthier for you.
And so the formulation took a really long time.
Actually, that was the easiest part. No
Woo!
one believes us.
I
Yeah.
know.
We did things a little backwards. We always say we did branding first. So really we created the world of Sistine before we ever even started to formulate. Because we just knew we were going to nail it out of the park. We knew that we would hit it out of the park. We knew we would create something we loved first bounce. So we focused on the story first. Really, what does the world of Sistine look like? What does it feel like? How does it look on a shelf? The color, like we colored the beverage before we had a beverage. Like we knew what the color would be before we had ever formulated anything. And once we started formulating, an interesting story is we were working with this amazing woman back east and she sent us the first formula and we tasted it and I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. It's amazing. But it's not it. This is totally just not it. This is not it at all. But I love it, but it's not it. So we send back notes and we keep going through this process. And then and I think Kate probably always knew this was it and maybe just letting me go through the motions of like, it's not it. We need to like try more. But I kept thinking about this original formulation. Like I would be like, I think I crave that. And then we ended up, after all the iterations, which weren't that many, we did it very quickly. We went back to number one.
Yeah.
So we really did get it first bounce, which is so incredible to think about. But we really were so specific about what we wanted the spritz to taste like. And so I think that really helped us because we spent so much time before we even started formulating on the spritz. And, you know, like Kate, very early on when we started hanging out one night, I had a party and she brought me over cacao bitters. And that blew my mind. I'm like, I've never had cacao, but I didn't even know cacao bitters existed. And we put it in Aperol spritzes that night because I still love an Aperol spritz. I know it's so sugary and whatnot, but I will still love Aperol forever. But that night too, when Kate brought, because she's an excellent baker, you guys should know that. She brought the cacao bitters, and I thought like, wow, there's so much complexity here and so many places to go with a spritz that also like all these little things along the way added to the formula. There's not cacao in Sistine, but just the complexity and being able to play with different botanicals and herbs is super exciting. And, you know, we have a second flavor coming out that we can't tell you what it is yet.
I'm
But,
sure.
you know, it's more along the lines of you'll see our journey as we start formulating different aperitifs and how much fun that is for us.
It's such an expansive world. So I have to imagine you have to experiment with a bunch of different things to be clear that like this is the right one because there's so many small things that change taste, that change color. So can you walk us through how you built the world of Sistine, the brand identity, and what were like key emotions you wanted us to feel when we were having Sistine, why you chose that red color? I'd love to dig in a little bit deeper so we can really sit in this world with you.
I would say we'll start with the color because that's one I love so much, our color journey. We had an incredible branding team that we worked with, Black Ink Projects out of London. And so a huge part of it was going through the process with them. But when it comes to the color, we knew that it needed to be red. It needed to be vibrant, but we also wanted it to stand out on a shelf. So when we went into any bottle shop, we were seeing like a lot of the same things, right? Even if it's a really beautiful or interesting label, it's still a label. And so we wanted to separate ourselves from the label world. And that's where our seal came into place of this blue. Like we wanted, what's the color that against the red is going to really stand out? And from that, we really worked with this color. And it wasn't what the formula was. We went then to the formula and said, hey, like we told our formulator, we were like, this is the color. We showed her a picture and she was like, okay. And through that, using like beets and carrots, we were able to get the color of Sistine that we have now. But that was our color journey. It was really what stands out. And there's some behavioral studies around like red being a color that we crave as humans. That wasn't really the forethought to it being red, but it's kind of just a fun thing now for us to think about. Like if I walk into a bottle shop, it does stand out and that sells
Oh
itself.
yeah.
We wanted to take out a couple of pieces for like any of our retailers where it's like the bottle sells itself.
Yeah, the color exercise was so interesting and so much fun. As we were designing the color of the bottle and the formula and the wax seal, we were also building the story of Sistine and how we wanted this, romantic rebellion is something that we use a lot with Sistine. We wanted it to be sexy, we wanted it to be rebellious, it's romantic, it's transportive. Like we're really bringing you into this world that is sexy. Like everything we do, we always want to be a little bit sexy and fun and irreverent and we had these keywords when we were building the brand. Like, what does it mean? What does the world of Sistine mean? And so these kept coming up, like rebellion and romance and irreverent flair and playfulness. So we really took those key terms and built them into the brand in this world that our joke was that we could launch Sistine and never have the product because we're telling this story of travel and art and music and community and entertaining and hosting and bringing everyone together. And that's really, really infused into the brand story.
I love your brand identity. And in the world we live in, every beverage company has the same branding, whether it's like Gen Z or millennial branding. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, everything sort of looks the same. And so I love that you didn't play into that, that you said we're going to do something really distinct, but it also feels timeless. Like something about the logo and the energy of it, it could have been created in like 1960. It could have been created today. There's something about it that speaks to like anyone at any time. This is approachable. It doesn't feel of this current year, which is really distinct.
Yeah, well, we talked a lot about that in the creation of the logo and the font is there's many brands that are of the moment, but we wanted Sistine to be timeless, exactly what you said, where it is our homage to Italy and something old world where it doesn't look like it was necessarily created today. And building a brand identity that would stand the test of time was super important for us, that it didn't feel like it got created in 2023, So I'm happy that people pick up on that because that was really a huge intention of ours with the brand.
That's what makes it feel different, right? I'm over a lot of the things. I'm just like, oh, everyone's like playing this rule book. How do we make things feel like novel in a time where everyone's starting a brand, especially like we're talking about alcohol, right? It's a very saturated market. It's not an easy market to break into by any means. Did that scare you at all? Did you guys have any conversations around like, I mean, because there is trepidation. You're starting something in a market where you're like, there's 8,000 different options.
No,
I
it
think
never did.
I think from day one, and maybe this is why things have felt right. It's like anytime somebody told us like the formula is going to be the hardest thing you ever do, it like every door opened and every connection happened so with ease in this way that just felt like, oh, we're on the right path. If this is happening in this way, like we're on the right path. And I think when it comes to, yes, the market is saturated and but it's saturated with like brands that are kind of flash in the pan brands. Like there's so many alcohol beverages that rebrand after like 3 to 5 years, and we wanted to make sure we weren't doing that. We wanted to really put the time and intention into building out Sistine so that we wouldn't have to rebrand. And we also like we looked at a lot of brands and said, this is what we're not. Not to say that there's not room for those brands, but we wanted to be very clear about something that like Lauren and I want to drink and want a brand that we believe in. I had a conversation. I actually was a little nervous at one point because I've never worked in alcohol. And I had a conversation with a friend who was at a large alcohol company and they had been acquired. He was there with them from day one. And so I just said, "What, am I crazy?" And he was like, "No, this is your superpower. The fact that you two are not from the alcohol industry means that you will do things differently. And that's what it needs right now because it is a lot of people using a playbook or going to, going with a formula and saying, okay, here's what this brand is going to be. And it doesn't have heart and soul. And I do see heart and soul in Sistine."
And I think we were really okay with going slow. Like a lot of these companies taking a lot of investment and the scale strategy is lightning fast. And we're not doing that. We're really building slowly, building community where we are. So we're, right now we're just in California, LA specifically, and branching out now, but really just taking our time with the brand, I think really sets us apart as well.
We have a lot of themes on this podcast, and one of the themes we talk about a lot is a sense of flow in life, which is you're living more in your dharma because you're not forcing. And what I like about the approach is, venture capital is sort of this force approach. It's like we're going to grow at all costs, we're going to shove this down your throats, we're going to borrow customers, and then you have this big brand, and then all of a sudden we're going to like recalibrate our pricing to actually make money. And I feel like when ClassPass, like the beginning of it, it was like everyone when they recalibrated their pricing, everyone was like, so I've just been like lied to for 5 years. Like that's not like the real price. And it's called borrowing customers. You borrow them and then they hopefully love the product enough. They eventually pay you the real cost of what they're offering you. And I mean, we've all experienced it. I mean, even Uber in LA was cheaper 4 years ago. And now you're like, oh, this is cost. We were just
Crazy.
moving around the city for like $10 thinking that's what it cost. But I think this is the right way to build a company that sustains, that lasts, is to take this slower approach, to be more thoughtful, to not get ahead of yourself. I feel like I talk to so many founders that don't, and as a former founder, I think I was guilty of this too, was like, you're so in the future vision that you're like 5, 10 years ahead that it's hard to be where you are right now and do what you're doing right now really well. But I think the more you lean into the slow process of understanding where you are, I do believe the more successful you will be.
Yeah,
100%. Couldn't
we've
agree more.
known from the get-go, like we don't want to be everywhere all at once. Lauren and I are super hands-on. We love doing tastings at all of our accounts or events and dinners. And as we grow, obviously we want to bring in people who can help be an extension of the brand. But it is special to be able to be there and talk to people about it. And the idea of just like hitting large market across the US, that's the overwhelming part, I think.
We'll
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We had a hair founder on the podcast and they've built very slow over time. But part of what was great about their journey was they didn't have to betray their values to build. Everyone was like, why don't you just take investment and grow? And they were like, we want to do this the way we want to do it. We were more expensive because we're not putting crap in our products. We're trying to be
Yeah.
thoughtful about that. And then it's like, I'm in control of where we're going. The company's not getting away from me or turning into something that I didn't intend for it to turn into.
Yeah.
100%. We really relate to that. In the beginning, so many factories that we would meet with would be like, this is a great formula, but we can make it less expensive by using all these substitutes. And we said, absolutely not. That is not why we're making this drink. But the system was set up to make us compromise our vision. It was not set up to help us succeed, which we found really interesting, that we really had to fight to get the ingredients and the quality of the spritz that we wanted until we found the right place that understood exactly what we were doing. But it was really interesting in the beginning because we're new to this industry to see how people just want to streamline and dilute things and make it easier.
Yeah, well, also most people do because they're focusing on profit
Yeah.
over quality, right? And I think what gives me so much hope is meeting all these founders that are unwilling to betray their value system to build something. Because obviously, we've seen what happens when you betray your value system. We're living through it right now, and it's not so great.
Yeah. Well, I think too, with alcohol, the interesting part is there isn't transparency. There's no nutrition labels on alcohol. Like you don't have to put what's in it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier for almost a customer not to think about it because it's not in their face. And that's something that I think is why a lot of people probably take that route of, oh, well, our margins will be better if we cut these ingredients and use substitutes. So I'm really proud of us for sticking to the clean, like all natural, all organic.
That's a good point. Last night I had a canned wine and I went to look for the calories and it was nowhere in sight. And I said, okay, I have to trust that this is not exorbitant.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Like
Yeah, you
most
don't
of
have to.
RTDs are super sugary,
Yeah.
you know.
Except for
Yeah.
Sistine. We're landing at 2 grams.
Yeah.
Aperol is 15. Guys, that's crazy.
No, Aperol is crazy.
I still love it. I still love it. But
I love that you love it. There was a period where I loved it. I'm now more going the Campari
yeah,
Spritz route because it's less
yeah.
sugary. But like there was a moment too. I was 10 toes down on the
I
Aperol
mean, we wouldn't
Spritz.
be here today if it wasn't for Aperol. We would not be having
That's
this
true.
conversation. So I am forever indebted to my first love, Aperol. It's just Kate has been with me at a restaurant someplace where I may ask to doctor it up myself to make it more palatable. I do it in a very nice way, but I've been known to mix my own spritz at a restaurant many times.
It sounds like you're a bit of a purveyor, expert of bitters and herbs. And like, how did you start that journey
I
of finding interesting ingredients to incorporate?
I dated two chefs, so we can thank them.
Okay.
And one of them, we spent some time in Italy and we stayed with some winemakers, and I really got immersed in the world of the spritz and aperitivo, and that I couldn't believe that in Europe there was like a dedicated hour every day where people had drinks that tasted like that were spritzes with olives. And I fell in love with that ritual. And so when I came back, I thought like, why don't we have that here? And where can I get a spritz? And it was very hard to find in the beginning. This was like 2014 or 15, like before the spritz boom here in California. So it was hard to find. So the guy I was dating at the time would make me spritz at home all the time. And he was incredible with all of his little tinctures. And so I really owe him also for Sistine because, you know, it was like that introduction to that world, that culinary world, the wine world. I thought it was so romantic to be in Italy and hear stories from winemakers on an amazing farm on an island called Pantelleria. Like, it's incredible.
Yep.
And so that was such a big part of my journey. And I came back after one trip in 2017, and that's when I started Wine Society. I literally came back from
Wow.
Italy, went to a wine shop that carries Sistine currently in Culver City called Stanley's Wet Goods. And I met the owner, and I told him I'd just been in Italy and I was looking for a certain bottle of wine. And he was like, how do you know about all this stuff? He's like, you should come to my wine class. You'd really like it. And I thought, I really don't love school. This doesn't sound that sexy to me. And I'm like, can I take it over? Can I invite only my friends? I'll buy out the whole thing and sell tickets. And like, can I redecorate your wine storage room? And he looked at me like I was out of my mind, but he said, okay. And I brought in like, I don't know how many dozens of red roses and candles. And then he handed everyone that sat down, like 30 of my close friends, like a pamphlet about biodynamic farming. And they looked at me like, are you insane, Lauren? We're not going to read this pamphlet. I'm like, no, just hear him out. Hear him out. It's super interesting. And that might have been one of the most wild wine societies I ever had, believe it or not. But that was the start of the journey. So I love infusing playfulness, fun, sexiness into whatever we're doing. And so I think that's a big part of Sistine. And, you know, Kate and I are super witchy and woo-woo and spiritual. And there's tarot cards and astrology and human design being thrown around all the time. And also a really big part of something that guides us in our personal lives and within the brand, which, you know, not a lot of people talk about, but it is a big part of what we do.
Can you walk us through that a little more? I'm curious.
I mean, even look, Lauren and I both use the same astrologer, and we like separately, after we had talked about working together, like separately went to her to be like, can you just like tell us And
Can
she
you
like,
Oh my
co-sign
gosh.
this?
yeah, exactly. We also use a lot of numerology whenever we're launching something, or
Okay.
if we're trying to choose between like this date or that date for even a dinner, we like look at what's happening in the sky because we're like, all right, we need a good vibe here.
Well, we launched a video a few weeks ago, and Kate and I decided, okay, we're going to launch it on the equinox at this time, right when it starts. It was like 7:24 a.m. And I said, pulled a tarot too, and I'm like, this video is going to go viral. And I remember texting Kate, I'm like, this video is going to go viral. It went viral. It was like 500,000 views that day. Like, we're tapped in.
Amazing.
But yeah,
I love that. What are your human design signs? And then what are your numerology life
I'm
numbers?
a life path master number 11. I am
I'm 22.
master numbers. I am a manifesting generator, and I'm a Taurus
Oh,
rising, Taurus sun, Virgo moon. Damn that Virgo moon. So annoying, but
you're earthy,
got a
earthy,
lot of earth.
earthy.
Oh my God.
Love that.
I'm gonna be the worst about remembering my human design off the top of my head, to be very
Aren't
honest,
you a
but
projector?
I am a projector. Thank
There is what I'm,
you.
She's I
yeah.
know. I know.
She
This is
knows.
I'm a good business partner and friend. She's a projector.
I'm a manifester. So I'm always dying to be a man gen.
Yeah.
No, no, I want to be a manifester. I'm like, why aren't I
No,
a
you don't. Sit in the
manifester? Why
universe
aren't I a manifester?
because you get all the bonus benefits. You don't burn out. And then when you do things, they happen really fast. Like manifestors were just like sitting there being like, universe, when's it our turn? Like I'm initiating, but like we're not, it's not popping the way it pops for man gens yet. So the point is I am always like trying to be. I love a man gen. I can always tell. I was gonna guess that one of you is a man gen because you can always tell. Because when they decide to start companies, all my friends who are man gens were like, "I'm starting a company." They did it, and it just like had a tailwind behind it. That was very different than other people's journeys. I was like, "You're a man
Well,
gen," because it doesn't. It only
I
works
think what's interesting with
that way.
mangens to manifesting generators is that our ability to do many different projects and start something like, I have a clothing line for 20 years, and then people are like, you're doing a wine society? Wait, you're doing what? Now you have a spritz company? Wait, you're rescuing dogs? Like, what is happening? But like, that is very typical for a manifesting generator to just kind of a lot of energy behind doing a bunch of different projects. And I know, and our big key sign is if you feel no energy around something, like if I start to feel really burnt out around something, that's my cue.
Got
Yeah,
it.
we're done. We've done it. Time to move on.
Okay, so wait. Kate, let's go back to your. Do you know your numerology life number?
Oh, I am. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is gonna kill me because I know. Why is I
Because
also
Kate's our
just
tarot
looked.
astrology girl.
I know. I'm not as good. I always have
It's,
people tell me
it's
the other ones for me. Also, I think I'm a sacral generator, is what I just looked at.
Whoa, plot
I'm
twist.
a
I thought you were a
sacral
projector.
generator. I know.
a projector too.
I believe I'm a sacral generator. Oh gosh, I do know my. Oh, I'm a nine. I'm a life path nine.
Right.
Whoa.
Okay.
Controversial.
I remember this
Yeah.
now.
Nines are controversial.
Okay, tell us why they're controversial. I think I know why, but
They're
I want to
like the
hear your
enigma
take.
sign, right? Like there's not a lot of information about nines out there. I don't know if you follow a bunch of the numerology guys.
But aren't nines like the end of a cycle rebirth or a rebirth sign?
Yeah, yeah, but also very rare. And they call them the enigma, kind of. Like, I think,
Well, all of us have rare
yeah,
numerology signs. I want to say that because very few people have master numbers. Yeah, this is a rare bunch in this podcast here today.
makes
That.
sense.
Okay, top three astrology.
Oh, I'm Aquarius sun, Capricorn moon, Pisces rising.
So you're a lot of water.
Oh,
I'm all
yes.
earth.
I'm air, water, I'm flowy. My Capricorn is helpful though. Capricorn gets things done. So, thank
For
goodness.
sure.
Otherwise, I'm dreamy
Yeah.
and psychic and love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm a Virgo sun, Gemini rising, Cancer moon. I'm a Cancer stellium, Cancer moon, Cancer Venus. So I'm with you in
I
the
have a Taurus stellium and a Sagittarius stellium. Like, what?
yeah, very conflict.
Yeah, it's psychotic.
Wow, I love this. This is so cool. I love all these methodologies, obviously, hence why I'm asking about them. And they do inform how I work. Learning I was a manifester changed how I structured my days. Like you, I'd like to do a lot of projects. I follow my
Yeah.
curiosity and my prismatic self. And if it's exciting, it's worth
Yeah.
following. And it's very counterculture to the world we live in, where everyone wants to put you in one
Yeah.
box. But the more I've delved into these ideas, the more I feel affirmed in those choices, which is why for everyone, none of this is gospel. It's a way of affirming
Well,
things about
it's also
yourself.
permission. I think it gives us permission to follow our inner knowing or really tap in to what we want to do. And it's permission to me because so often there's these constructs or things that we think we're supposed to follow, right? And this gives you permission to break outside of the norms and just do what you want to do. That's why I really love human design. The first time I read my human design, it gave me permission to be who I innately know I'm supposed to be. And where people might say, oh my God, she's scatterbrained, she's doing all this other stuff, really landed for me. And I'm like, no, that's just part of my design. And that's how I will thrive. So that's where I think those tools can be so useful. And our astrologer that we see, Rosie Cutter, who is the best, you should get a reading with her. She always says, like, astrology's a weather report, Lauren. I'm telling you it's raining, wear a jacket. You know, it's not fatalistic. She teaches you how to work with the astrology, not against the astrology, and not just be a victim of circumstance or life. And that's where we feel that it is so useful because you can go, if we're dealing with something with Sistine or something personally, to look deep into the transits to kind of as a guide of what to do, not telling you what to do, because we all have free will, but it's just understanding astrology and knowing how to use it, I think, is what really, really works for us, especially in the business. I mean, obviously, personally. How could we not check a man's chart?
I'm also having immense deja vu as you were saying that. Like, I was like, I dreamt this 5 months ago, and now it's happening. This happens to me a lot. I don't usually talk about it because it's a little weird. So, yeah, we're in the right timeline because I already knew this was happening.
There you go.
Yeah. And I think too, so much is perspective. I love astrology and tarot and everything for perspective because it might point something out that I'm not really paying attention to. But it also then it kind of ties into this idea that we are very powerful. Our minds are so powerful. And, you know, like Lauren and I talk about this a lot where people will be like, this is so hard. This like, and tell us how everything's going to be tough or we get a lot. People are surprised that we actually like each other or that we're friends. And they're like, don't you like fight all the time? And I'm like, no, I actually,
No.
it's kind of, I'm waiting for the day where Lauren and I like don't agree on something. But it's just, again, it's the idea of like, if you tell yourself something's going to be hard, then it will be hard. But if you tell yourself like, oh, there will be challenges and we need to like figure those things out and just take a different approach, it makes things much more manageable.
Well, I remember a conversation. Kate and I were driving back from a vineyard we went to visit in Paso Robles, where we're going to get our wine from. And I remember us having a conversation about this doesn't have to be hard. Like we are going to throw that narrative in the trash of people telling us like it's so hard. And we're like, it's actually not hard. It's actually enjoyable. And there's challenges, of course, but that's just like we always said, like no's not a no. That's just like, okay, go down a different street then. We really don't accept no as an answer, and we don't want to live in this world of everything is hard. So we're not
Yeah.
immune to challenges. That's not what we're saying at all. Like, of course, those present themselves all the time. The world is bananas, but that's not our narrative. And I think it's helped us so, so much.
Well, a co-founder relationship is a marriage.
Oh,
When I
yeah.
had my co-founder, we approached it in this like social contract way where we said we're friends and we built a contract in which we said like who are you when things
Yeah.
get hard? Like who do you become? Like what does your worst self look like? What does your best self look like? And
Smart.
my former co-founder is still one of my closest friends. And for me, I was so proud of how we navigated the death of our company because we were able to show up for each other and be super vulnerable in a way that allowed the friendship to stay intact. Whereas a lot of people tell these stories and they're like, well, we had a co-founder fallout. If both people are approaching this
Yeah.
business and this friendship, like the friendship for us was always number one, the business was second. And it was like, if we approach it from this lens and we're able to have these loving, tough conversations, then we have nothing to worry
Yeah.
about because it's how you approach life. We care more about each other than we care about anything else. And I think that's really a beautiful way to build a company because then you can really weather most things because you're not worried about someone flipping on you or turning on you. Like that's not the energy of what you're building.
Yeah. It's really interesting because Kate and I had known each other for a minute before we entered into Sistine, and we were friends, and our closer friendship was building at the time. But Sistine, like, our friendship really solidified in the growth of this company and the creation and the launch. Like, that's what brought us so, so close. So it's an interesting formula of like being friends, but then
Yeah.
now building a closer friendship while building a company has been really, really interesting. Really interesting. And
It's really special.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think Kate brings so much to the table that like things that I don't know how to do. So it's an amazing partnership because I couldn't have done this without her. And I saw that she was the missing piece to what we needed to do. And so I'm so grateful for that because I also know like she does a lot of things, Lauren, that you don't know how to do. Like she's a very
Yeah.
important person here. And I think like we're the yin and the yang to each other, and there's this balance. And when one of us might be feeling like nervous or can we do this, the other person can be like, no, 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 you got this. And being able
Yeah.
to see something in the other person that they might not see in themselves at the time. That's why I love partnerships in business. I
Yeah.
love the idea of building something with someone.
There's this thing called the Pygmalion effect, which is when we recognize other people's genius and their talent, they believe it more in themselves. And so the more that we can uplift people around us, like you build their self-trust and their self-worth by recognizing their gifts.
That's so
Yeah, I
true.
definitely Lauren's the best cheerleader. It's- and also I think the fact that she has built her, apparel line for over 20 years is a huge like it helps me a ton because I probably freak out more than Lauren does. I can say that actually very confidently. Where little things will be like, I'll be like, oh my God, and she's like, no, no, it's fine. And she's so calm. And I'm like, wow, my whole system like relaxes. And I haven't had as much like anxiety or stress. And I've tried in the past to do companies with having a business partner, and I've always felt like really stressed or anxious. And it's a very different feeling when you find the right fit. And I think that's one of the things that works so well for us. We're very similar temperaments. Like we
Yeah.
also treat each other really kindly. And like I've never experienced Lauren talk to anyone or me poorly. And I think that's a really big deal. Like I know it seems
I've never
simple and
gotten
we
mad
should
at anyone.
no, like we might have some stuff like some drama, but like not between us.
No,
I think
never,
Yeah.
never.
it's one of those things that seems simple, but it actually is a huge part of a partnership working, is like how you treat each other.
And entrepreneurship is such a muscle. So I'm sure for Lauren, you've been an entrepreneur a really long time. I think you handle waves differently the more you're in them. And I'm like you, if it's not life or death, it's not really a
Yeah.
problem. So I approach things, we can figure this out. Like we're not, the raccoon in my backyard this week, that is a problem. That is a problem. My dog's life on the line, and I'm not okay with that. But anything else, I'm like, we can solve this, not a big deal. I very rarely get activated because it becomes a muscle. You're like, oh yeah, nothing's a big deal, everything's solvable. And in the scheme of the world, like,
Yeah.
we are making Sprit to make people's lives more beautiful and luxurious and joyful and connected.
Yes.
100%. Yeah, definitely my experience with building LNA. I still have it today. I'm obviously very involved still. Is that I've been through everything that a founder can go through at LNA. I've been through. Like there's not any bad thing that I haven't gone through. In that experience, I'm able to be like, all right, like I've been through some really bad shit and I survived all of it. So we're going to be fine. Don't worry. But it's with that experience, I think, that I can have that perspective now. Because when I was 23 and thought my business was going to tank, like I was in a very different headspace. I was going off the rails. Now, at my experience, I can look back and be like, no, we survived it all. And honestly, sometimes you got to bottom out. Rock bottoms are okay sometimes because that's like where a lot of growth happens, and we can thank
Yeah.
those now. In the moment, they're
That's what
horrible.
that's what therapy's for. I mean, it's fine.
Rock bottoms, I will say they're horrible, but the number one growth generator, I used to be the same. I'd be like, oh, I don't want to experience those feelings. And now I'm like, I am who I am
Yeah,
because of those terrible
Definitely.
experiences. And if I hadn't had them, I'd be less developed of a human being and, not as good as of an entrepreneur. That stuff really builds you. And so now when things are get hard, I'm like, I'm very grateful. I also leave, I'm like, universe, thank you so
Yeah.
much. I'm so grateful. We are
Yeah.
learning, we are becoming who we want to be. I'm literally always in dialogue with the universe because at this
Yeah.
point, I'm like, I trust this is happening for me to grow into a much better version of myself.
Nothing will set you back on track more than a rock bottom. If you
Yeah.
truly
Yeah.
hit your rock bottom, like on the floor, like, why God, things are about to get better. Things are about to get
Hmm.
better. Anytime in my, and I had one actually not that long ago, not professionally, but I had to go through something
Yeah.
really hard. And I, in my greatest grief, was like, why is this happening to me? And a few days later, while I was still deeply grieving, I was able to sort of somehow, I keep saying, like, I don't know how I was able to get to this point of like, I need to be able to thank this moment because there's a teacher here that I can't see yet. And on the other side of this, there's something so much better that I can't even conceive yet. And, this is back in December and now we're in April and now I can see the lesson. And in the time I couldn't, but I will say that now I'm so thankful for it. Like I needed redirection. So we got to thank the rock bottoms.
Yeah. It's always like hindsight is 2020. My intuition
Yeah.
dreams bigger than me. So I'm like, oh, I see what you were
Yeah.
doing. Get it. Okay. We're
I
with
didn't like
it.
it in the minute, but now it's okay.
Yeah. If we project out over the next, let's say, couple years, what can we look forward to from Sistine?
Oh,
More
wow.
flavors.
Yeah.
Do you need a taste
We
taster?
do. We're going to do some fun little bottles for our friends to try when we're formulating.
Right.
Okay, second flavor done. We're going to launch flavor 2. We are going to expand throughout California and beyond slowly and strategically. Building the brand community is so important to us. Exposure, audience. There'll be more Sistine playlists and parties and fun videos that Kate dreams up in her mind. We love shooting these content videos that Kate, from the mind of Kate, I call it. She's such an incredible creative producer. So I think for us, we try not to have these firm goals of like, we need to reach this dollar amount by, in 6 months and be in X amount of stores. Like we're a business. We have growth, obviously, potential and strategy and goals and all that. But it's more about momentum. Like, is the brand continuing to move forward? Are we continuing to sell out, which we do everywhere we are? Are we formulating? How's the health of the business? And I think when you focus on all of those things, everything falls into place, in my experience. And so we're going to continue to put out the best possible product and be innovative, be true to the brand and ourselves, build community and awareness, and expand distribution is really.
This is a really good note. I used to be very focused on specific goals and outcomes. And I think when you're that specific, sometimes you're constraining your own opportunity because you're so fixated on one result. And if you just create the container, like what you're saying, of like, we want to sell out everywhere we are, you're allowing a co-creator like the universe
Yeah,
and other things to like come in and show you more possibility. Because if you're like, we have to sell X amount by this date, then it's like there's only one place for this to go, and either you meet it or
yeah,
you fail. But if you keep that container open, you allow other things to unfold. And I think this is such a smart way of approaching business. And this is how I've shifted my business too, is I've eliminated these like things I wanted to check because I would get there and then I'd be unhappy or it wasn't right. And I was like, I'm so fixated on this one thing and it's then constraining all these other ways it can go.
yeah,
Agreed. I also think too, there's certain things, we now took on a sales rep and he he went out to accounts that I wouldn't have even considered, and not in a way against the accounts by any means. It just wasn't on my radar. And I loved the fact that, like, yes, we had a list, but we also gave them space to say, "Oh, I have ideas too." And I
yeah.
think that's what it is. When you do leave room, it allows for things to manifest or appear that maybe weren't considered before.
Really beautiful. So where can everyone find you if they want to, if say we're not in California and we can't purchase a steam yet, where can they find you online? And then if we're in California, like where can they find you?
Okay, they can go to stanleyswetgoods.com. They have Sistine available online, cans and bottles.
And they ship to
That
like
would,
12 states. So
yeah.
somebody might be lucky. Just throwing it out
If you're
there.
not in those 12 states, hold tight. We're working on it. Another goal of ours is to launch e-commerce. That's what we want to do. So we can send Sistine to everyone. So in LA, Stanley's Wet Goods, it's in Culver City too. If you are in the area, if you want to grab a spritz, they have spritz on tap because we make spritz kegs. Or you can buy a bottle or a can. In Venice, Butcher's Daughter, Only the Wild Ones, Cuckoo in West Hollywood also. Dopo Lavero Wine Shop, which is the Teroni Wine Shop in West Hollywood. Oh my gosh, so many accounts.
There's so many.
Justa. We are really building a strong community, and we have lots of locations in LA now. So, and now we're in the Valley, we're in Burbank, we're in Studio City, even Whittier, Nick's
Malibu.
Steakhouse. Oh, Malibu Vintage
Wow.
Grocers. I can't believe I almost forgot that one. Yeah, so we're really, taking over neighborhoods.
And then you can find us on Instagram. We're just at Sistine Spritz. We have some fun content that we put out.
Oh,
Plus, if we're ever doing events and everything, it's a good place to like
yeah.
keep a tab on. And then our website as well. It's the same, SistineSpritz.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time today and sharing your philosophy with us. It's so awesome to hear that how you're building it. It's so in alignment with what we talk about here on Too Much and building new blueprints for the new world that don't betray who we are, but help us step into the fullness of who we are. And so thank you for being a beautiful model of that.
This was
Thank
so
you.
fun. Thank you.
I know. We love this conversation.
Bye, guys.
So fun.
Thank you so much for listening. If you do like listening, it would mean the world to us if you could subscribe or review the podcast anywhere that you watch or listen to the podcast. It really helps with the algorithm to share this with the world. I want to give a special thank you to young Spielberg and Sarah Yarkin for their beautiful work on our opening jingle, Dana Boulos for her help with the beautiful art, and to all of you for tuning in and keeping this dream alive. If you want to hear certain topics or from certain guests, please feel free to email us. We really, really want to hear from you and see how we can best support you. See you next time.